Today, we're going to be making a phone call to Minot Coin and Bullion in Minot, North Dakota. The owner's name is Josh, and he is a coin shop that I discovered through my coin shop call videos. We had him on the channel a few years ago, and we're going to get an update into the market, into spot prices, into premiums, and of course, sentiment with his customers. Let's get him on the phone.
Hello, Minot Coin and Bullion. Josh speaking.
Hey, Josh, it's Silver Seeker. How's it going, man?
Hey, great. How are you doing?
Good. Hey, I'm sorry over the weekend. I know I interrupted you and you were at the coin show, so I do apologize about that.
Oh, no problem at all. You had no idea. It's perfectly fine.
Cool. So I just wanted to get you on the phone today and talk to you a little bit about silver prices and sentiment with your customers and things like that. Is that something you'd be willing to discuss?
Sure. I'm always happy to talk about that.
Cool. Well, let's start off into silver prices. I mean, right now we're seeing like 21 and a quarter, but it's taken a pretty big drop in February. Do you think, is that something you foresee continuing?
It's hard to know. If I had to guess, I think it could get lower. Sure.
Yeah.
But if spot gets lower, it doesn't necessarily mean landed cost for the customer will drop. And I know you had touched on that last week in a video where, we have history to back this up. There's been times that silver has pushed lower from where a lot of people feel the bottom is. When that happens, a premium makes up for it.
Right.
So I'll just tell you, talking with other dealers at that coin show, a lot of them agree with me. And my gut instinct is, it's a great time to buy right now because premiums are way lower than they've been in a long time. And spot is pretty low too.
Right.
Most of the other dealers feel the same way, that we're kind of at a great opportunity right now. But I did speak to some too who are kind of doom and gloom. They're insistent that it's going to get lower, that it's going to get down into the 18s. I just think when that happens, the premiums will go up again. So it really won't be a better buying opportunity. But then again, that's my opinion. But
So I just want to take a quick second here to congratulate Strat959. He is the winner of our monthly SD Bullion Swag Pack giveaway. Each month we are picking a winner to win a 1 ounce silver round, an SD Bullion mug, and a polo as well, just like the one I'm wearing. If you guys don't know about that giveaway, I'll put a link in the description with information, so make sure you check it out. So once again, congratulations to Strat959, and thank you to SD Bullion for sponsoring my channel. I mean, at what point does silver drop so far down that the demand for it skyrockets and pushes those premiums back up?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So
yeah. Well, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, so I get what you're saying, and I get the doom and gloomers. Like, you've watched my channel enough. I don't predict what spot price is going to be from day to day. I can, I'll say things like, well, I feel like it's going to keep going lower, which is kind of what I was asking you. I wasn't asking you to tell me what you think it's going to get to, but I kind of feel like it's going to go a little bit lower personally. But I don't try and predict what the numbers are going to be. But I do look at what the premiums were, just 4 months ago. It was crazy what you were paying over spot. Eagles, there was a point, I think it was like September-ish, I'd have to go back and check my records, where the premiums, the average premium, in other words, I went and checked all the online dealers, I called coin shops, and the average premium was roughly double spot price of silver. So if silver was trading for 23, you were paying 46 for an Eagle, and that's insane. I don't think it was that high. I think it was like 20 plus 20, but either way, you get my point. So
exactly. And I was right there with them. I had to be. Replacement cost on the wholesale side was like $16 over spot.
Right.
I mean, it was ridiculous. So yeah, if somebody wanted an Eagle, they had to pony up and pay for it. And I frankly, people would ask, I would almost talk them out of it.
Yeah.
Because it's, you could get, if you bought 2 Eagles, you could get 3 rounds for about the same price. So do you want 3 ounces of silver or 2? Exactly. And I kind of left it at that, and they can make their own decision. But yeah, it was crazy times. I hope it doesn't get to that point again, but it certainly could.
And we all knew, I mean, I knew at least, I guess maybe we can't say we all, but we all knew that the premiums were going to eventually come back down, right? I mean, it wasn't like we were going to be, we weren't going to be facing $20 an ounce over spot for 1 ounce silver Eagles forever. So you're right. I mean, in that point, like if you're going to be stacking silver, even with the premiums, really the question becomes, do you buy the silver Eagles and get 2 of them, or buy the rounds and get 3 of them? And I think, I've said in many videos in the past, like, just get more silver. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. And most of my customers are in that same mindset as well. But believe it or not, I had people buying Eagles at that time too. They weren't buying them in huge quantities, but 2, 3 tubes at a time, because that's all they wanted to stack. And then again, that's perfectly fine. It's an individualized decision, but it's just crazy for sure.
Yeah, I mean, and you're right. It's each their own. Like, I'm not going to knock anyone that wants to buy Silver Eagles. I just, I'm kind of like you. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it. In fact, to be honest with you, even today, and you can tell me, what your sentiment with your customers is, but even today, with the premiums being back down to like $10 an ounce over spot for Eagles, I'm still not super interested in stacking Eagles. I actually have a video coming out. By the time people see this, it will have already launched, but right now, no one's seen it yet. Where I point out my 4 favorite things that I'm stacking right now. And then I also like hinted on how I'm still not buying Eagles because even at $10 an ounce over spot, it's just too much. I mean, if you remember before February of 2021, I mean, I actually did an unboxing of a monster box that I want to say I paid like 275, 280 an ounce over spot for. And you know what I
The
mean?
good old days.
Yeah, the good old days, right. And I have not bought anywhere near any decent quantity of Eagles since February of 2021 when the silver squeeze pushed all the premiums up. So I think is that
Yeah,
is that around the time that we talked? Was around that time? Because I know it
it
was.
was, yeah. We spoke, it was late February of 2021. It
Yeah.
was like the last couple days of February of 2021. So really about 2 years ago.
Yeah, so it was
Yeah,
literally right
2 years
after it
and 2
happened.
weeks. Yep.
Yeah, I've been doing those. I've been
Yeah.
doing those shop calls for a while. Most people like them. There's a few dissenters out there that think I'm wasting shop's times, and that's fine. Everyone's got their opinion, but I don't know. I prefer to be able to bring the data to the market so people can see how important it is. I mean, a lot of people take it for granted that they know better than to just walk into the first place and just take whatever they tell you. But you wouldn't believe how many people leave comments that say, "Thank you so much. I didn't realize. Thank you so much for showing me." You know what I mean? So, I mean, teach their own, I suppose,
Yeah.
but go ahead.
You're doing a great thing. You're giving incredibly valuable information to people. And that's, people need to have all the information in order to make the decision that's best for them. And like you said, don't accept the first offer. There might be better ones out there.
Yeah, and guys, that's a coin shop owner telling you that. Even if he walked into his shop, he would expect that people have, shopped around, I'd assume. But I mean, there's a ton of good dealers out there. You're one of them. That's actually why we had you on the show last time. Is
I
you are
appreciate that.
no problem. I appreciate it. And guys, by the way, I mean, I actually have your shop's name on here, but Minot, North Dakota, Minot Coin and Bullion. If you guys are in that area, definitely give Josh a call. I'll put his phone number in the description. But let's get into, like, we already talked about spot and premium, but what are the sentiment with your customers right now? Now that premiums on Silver Eagles have come down, silver rounds have come down, spots come down, are you seeing a pickup in sales or more people selling? Give me a little bit of insight as to what's going on there.
Well, I'm seeing a little bit of both. I am still seeing, surprisingly quite a few people selling, but it's not the people that are doing it to realize profits. They're doing it out of necessity to pay their bills. I have one customer in particular who's a very good customer, both buying and on the selling side, who's about 2 hours away. And he made an interesting comment that I've repeated many times since. He came in, drove his 2 hours to sell me 100 silver rounds, and we had agreed upon the price ahead of time. And he said, "Yeah, I really don't want to sell these, but unfortunately, all of my bills are payable in fiat currency, so I have to liquidate some silver to pay my fiat bills." And it's so obvious to all of us, but that's an interesting way to put it. So essentially, he's being his own bank, and he intends to buy those back. We actually have a side agreement where he can buy them back at a specified date at a little bit more than what I paid him. But there's people that are being their own banks. Obviously, this time of year, a lot of bills come due for people in my part of the world, real estate taxes, you know, income taxes, estimated taxes, all sorts of things come due for people. So, and the after Christmas credit card bills are coming in. So it gets to be a time where people are a little squeezed for cash. But on the buying side, I should say, for me selling, I'm getting a lot of customers in here buying. I know you'd commented on a recent video that the demand hasn't quite spiked. That's about the only thing on your video that I disagreed with, because I'm seeing a huge spike in demand in Minot, North Dakota, really western North Dakota, maybe North Dakota as a whole in general.
I mean, and it's possible, I go on based on what I see, but I'm not behind the counter of a coin shop like you are. So I get a lot of my data from talking to other coin shops, other coin dealers. There's a coin dealer I've had on quite a few times. I've known for a very, very long time, well before YouTube. Mike from Mid America Coins, and he had actually spoke about, and this was over a month ago now, but he had spoke about how there was a huge drop in the amount of people coming in and buying at the time. Now that could have turned around since that video, of course, especially with the spot price dropping, with the premiums coming down. But I mean,
Yeah.
wouldn't you say that the premiums coming down, and I'm asking you specifically, I'm not trying to influence what you're going to say, but wouldn't you say that the premiums coming down is kind of a sign that we are seeing a lower physical demand for like stacking purposes?
Yeah, probably on a national level, on a worldwide level, because I sure don't think production costs have come down. And I think that was a portion of why premiums did get so high. Um, but like I said, in North Dakota, I'm seeing more and more new people every day um, that are coming in. And you kind of asked me what customer sentiment was. There's a lot of people, I don't want to use the word scared, nervous maybe is a better word, apprehensive about our government, our economy, the value of their dollar. They're worried about inflation. Cash in the bank isn't doing them any favors in terms of interest. So there's people looking for other, ways to invest their fiat currency, and metals is one way. And I see a lot of people. For those of you who don't know, Minot, North Dakota is a little bit remote. I mean, we're in north central North Dakota. The nearest coin shop to me is, well, I do have one in the city of Minot also, aside from me, but the next nearest is an hour away. The next nearest one from that is probably an hour and a half away. There's maybe 8 coin shops in the whole state. So we get a lot of people from the region traveling to come see us. And a lot of them are brand new, first time metal investors with a whole lot of questions because
Gotcha.
they're scared and they're nervous about the direction the country's headed. So I guess I'm here to provide a service, give them all the information, and ultimately it's up to them what to buy.
Right. I agree with a lot of the sentiment from your customers. I mean, that is things that are on my mind all the time. Our government, inflation, the way that they continue to put money into circulation. I mean, the dollar is a scary thing to hold a lot onto. But you had mentioned your other customer who had said, "Look, my bills can't be paid in silver." So I think it's very important for people to realize you can't completely give up on fiat currency. You can't live
Exactly.
bartering silver, unfortunately. I mean, it would be great,
Yeah.
sure, but
Not
it's
yet.
yeah, not yet for sure. So, I talk about all the time, making sure that you have, money in savings to cover any like unexpected expenses, 6 months if you get laid off, or more, et cetera, things like that. It's important not to put all of your eggs in one basket per se. I mean, if you dump a bunch of money in silver, let's say you're like, oh my gosh, the government put all this money into circulation, and in 2022 when the premiums were sky high, silver was higher than it is today, and you dumped all your money in the silver, and now you were in a car accident, or you found out you had some serious disease, and you have all these bills that you have to pay. Now you have to sell your silver at a loss to cover those because you didn't prepare by also having fiat currency set aside.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's not to say you shouldn't be buying silver, right? I mean, you definitely should,
Exactly.
but make
Yeah.
sure make
There's a
sure
lot of,
go ahead.
go ahead. Okay. I was going to say there's a lot of people that take the mindset of being your own bank a little to the extreme. I guess what I mean by that is, it's great if you're going to purchase metal. I think absolutely everybody should own some. And you had already commented, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Don't put all of your available funds into one thing because that's just not very responsible. But some people do. Some people, they'll come in the shop with, it's $5,000, and that might be the money they have to live on for the week. There's some guys that don't want to walk out with any cash left in their hand. They're going to maximize that and eat ramen the rest of the week. Just to put everything they absolutely can into silver. I don't necessarily recommend that because, as you said, you need to have cash on hand. You need to have that fiat to pay your bills. Um, so, but then again, there are people who are responsible, do both things, save cash. And I don't know that necessarily the bank is the best place to put it. That's for a whole nother call maybe, but
Right.
I get a lot of customers that have told me, and I'm in an interesting position in the job I do as a coin dealer because I'm also a psychologist slash psychiatrist because I tend to be spoken to about a lot of things that go on in people's lives. It's kind of like the barbershop, small town barbershop type thing where you talk to your barber about your marriage problems or whatever else. But anyway, a lot of customers are telling me they're worried about cash in the bank and at some point not being able to access it.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not telling everybody to run out and pull all your cash out of the bank because I don't think that's the right answer. But there's a lot of people that are losing confidence in their financial institutions. So, for me, if people ask me, and I don't readily offer opinions unless they ask, but I think everybody should have access to cash, not just from a bank account, but I mean like on your person or locked up in your safe at home. Because if indeed there does come a crisis and the banks are closed, you're not going to be able to get to that cash. I remind people on September 12th, the day after the September 11th terrorist attacks. A lot of people probably don't even remember this because, gosh, that's 22 years ago almost. The banks took a national holiday on 9/12. You couldn't go into your bank, pull out cash. So they could do that at any time. So I just encourage people to have some cash on hand. Don't go, pull out everything you own and stuff it under your mattress because that's not necessarily safe. But I encourage people to have cash on hand as well. Exactly what you were alluding to.
Yeah, and I get not trusting your financial institutions. I mean, let's be honest. If every single person went and withdrew all their bank accounts, every bank in the world would, go bankrupt. They wouldn't have enough cash for it.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah, it's a fractional banking system. So really for, if you deposit $100, that bank can loan out 1,000. They only have to keep, it's just crazy. I mean, it's, and I will tell you a quick anecdote without naming names, but another dealer that I know that I do business with actually put out his own YouTube video within the last week where he received a letter from one of his banks that they're closing his account. He had been with this bank for over a decade, in and out, multi-million dollars every year in transactions. They closed his account without explanation. The only explanation he could get was the board, some type of board who assesses risk for the bank, determined that his account to be too risky, so they closed his account.
wow.
So that doesn't mean his money disappeared or his cash disappeared, but why don't people trust the banks? Well, that's a perfect example. I mean, so that's a little scary. So I also encourage people too to maybe, if they insist on keeping, substantial amounts of cash in the bank, you better spread it around.
I can't believe that. That's crazy. Huh. Josh, anything else you want to talk about really quick? It's been about 20 minutes. I don't want to make it go too long. People lose interest, but
Oh, I understand. Yeah. I just want to tell you, I really appreciated our call 2 years ago. It was a boom for my business. I was getting calls from all over the country after that video. So you're doing a great thing. You give guys like me great exposure. After that call, you inspired me to start my own YouTube channel.
all right.
I wasn't sure when I was going to do it, but quite honestly, on a whim, about 3.5 weeks ago, I had kind of a slow day in the shop because we had some really crummy weather. I decided, you know what? I'm going to sign up for a YouTube account. I'm going to start today. So
There
I
you
started
go.
about 3.5 weeks ago, and I got 650 some odd subscribers, which is mind-boggling to me. I
Well-
honestly thought I would maybe have 100 by year end.
Well, it's funny. YouTube actually recommended me one of your videos.
Really, I can't tell you how I got in their algorithm, but somehow I got lucky. I guess it's dumb luck, but like I said, you inspired me, and everything you do is great. And I've gave you a shout out in one of my most recent videos because I kind of piggybacked off the information you had provided, and it's been great. I just want to continue to make content and educate people, much like you do, because mine's coming from a little different perspective from the other side of the counter, and I think people will appreciate that because it's dealer perspective. It's not necessarily which you give already on your channel because you're interviewing dealers. And I think you need to continue to do that, despite what the naysayers say that you're wasting their time. You're really not. I mean, we're here to provide our information. If someone has a question, we're going to answer it. So I think you should keep doing the calls 100%.
Well, thank you, man. I appreciate that. All right, Josh. Well, that's good. That'll be all I have for you today. But listen, I appreciate having you on, guys. Again, check out Josh from Minot Coin and Bullion. It's been on the screen the entire time we've had this call, so it'll be easy for you to find. And I'm sure he'll look forward to hearing from you, Josh. Thank you again for joining me.
Yeah, thank you, Silver Seeker. I'll be in touch. Take care.
You too. So there you go, guys. It was a pleasure to have Josh back on the channel, and we will have any of the relevant video links in the description below, so make sure you go down there and check those out. Additionally, I was glad to have Josh on. I can't believe it's already been 2 years. We'll try and make it a little bit quicker to get him on next time. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. It definitely helps me grow the channel. Don't forget to check out this video above as well if you haven't seen it yet. That's the next one you should watch, and we will see you next time.